What's up, guys? How we all doing?
Hey,
Good.
So,
I'm having computer issues.
uh-oh. We'll check it out. We'll see what happens.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to Let's Talk Kevin Smith, the show where a group of nerds just got together and wanted to talk about one of their favorite directors / writers ever. And the best way to do that is just to go through his repertoire of movies that he has done. And as you guys can see, I'm not alone. We are on Ragin Cajun Comics channel, and we have neighbor to the north, to the, I guess, left of me. And then down below, we got Tylox The Mighty and Evil Mike joining us. Welcome, everybody. I'm super excited to talk about this movie with you guys.
Heck yeah. Should we just say hi who's in the chat and we'll start it off and then get everybody's feedback on how much they liked it or disliked the movie. What do you guys think? Mike, how you been?
Been good, man. Let's do this. Let's hit the chat, man.
You got it. First off, hey, we got neighbor to the north. What's up, brother?
What's up, Brad?
Raging Cajun's here to show some love.
Hey.
Thanks, man. Nice to see you,
What's
brother.
up, JD? That's a nice guy.
Oh, Uncanny Swag. What's up?
What's up, Swag?
Oh, we have John. What's up, brother?
John Stout.
Yes. And it looks like that's all we have right now. And usually they'll be jumping on. Oh, take it back. Yeah, Brando. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, Brandon?
Joining us, guys. Today we're going to cover Chasing Amy, so that'll be cool. And that's it. We'll just highlight everybody who jumps on and thank everybody for joining us. And let's start with this. Little Talking Amy, Chasing Amy. Was this anybody's favorite movie out of all of us, or was it just one of the top ones?
Hands down my favorite.
It
wouldn't be my favorite. You guys all know my favorite, but like it's up there. It's like it's different. Like especially when you go from jumping from Mallrats to Chasing Amy, it's totally differently structured and a different kind of message behind the scenes.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is mature, but still like under the veil of dick and fart jokes. You know, like the dialogue is way more sophisticated and just deeper than Mallrats. Mallrats was a little bit, you know, like there was still some messaging in there, but it was, you know, those dick and fart jokes were prominent, and these were just kind of subtle little prods. And to me, like this is my favorite of the Kevin Smith movies. That's why I'm so freaking excited to talk about it. You know, going through the other two movies, no shade thrown at Clerks or Mallrats. They're classics so far, but you know, Chasing Amy hits home for me, man. So there's a lot of things in this movie that I've experienced.
Yeah, this one's up there for me. It wouldn't be my favorite, but it kind of depends on the day too. I mean, there's some days
yeah, but sometimes that's real. One movie might hit you hard one day, different the other day. For me, it's the tie, you know, because I love Mallrats and Chasing Amy, and the fact that they're the two out of all of them that are kind of the comic book fueled. You know, they both have like a special place because it's kind of like the transition. It went from like the mall, and then now we're in like conventions, and so it's always a hard one. But I love Chasing Amy for exactly those mature themes.
What's up, Steve? Yeah,
what's up, Steve?
I totally love it because I saw a different side of Kevin Smith, and it opened my eyes because I was always used to the comedy, and then he hit me with this, and I was like, "Whoa, all right, I like this side of Kevin Smith."
But it's still funny. Like
yes,
there's some like just the opening scene in general is probably the greatest.
Yeah, the opening scene.
One of the greatest opening scenes of all time.
I just watched it with my best friend, and I've made him watch it a bunch, and like if a bunch of people know me, then they know my friend and our relationship. But man, just that opening scene and his reaction to it, like that, you know, like his first time seeing it and not know it's staged, like he was getting upset and everything with the guy and everything. It's such a great opening scene.
All right. Well, I have a little slide that I set up, so we'll just use that as a reference for refreshing your mind and just giving you some parts. I try to get some more. Hopefully, next time if we do it on my channel again, when we jump back, I'll get a little bit more fancier. But we'll just hit it off right here, TM, and then see what you say. We got Chasing Amy, guys. It is a great movie. I watch this multiple times. I'll jump on this maybe 2-3 times a year. TM, start off what you think about the opening part right here.
Oh, I absolutely enjoyed it. It was like comedy gold, like, and it's funny too because like it's the guy that that's what's his name? He's close with he's the producer on everything Kevin Smith. He's good friends with Kevin Smith. That's the guy right there. He's the snowball guy from Clerks.
Oh, Scott
Yeah.
Mosier.
Yeah, Scott Mosier.
Scott Mosier.
And that the kid that he's talking to is actually Ben Affleck's younger brother.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first
Casey.
things he was ever in. But it's just that opening scene, like we really delve into the characters early on because we know Banksy is like a hot head. Like he's quick to like jump the gun and do something about it. And then we got Holden, who is definitely the guy who's just like, oh, okay, I gotta go make sure that he doesn't kill this dude. And we definitely dive into who the characters are in this earlier scene.
Yeah, and I love how the way it starts right at a con, and that got me, drawn in right there at that spot. So I was already, it's already at a con. Cool, let's start it up, and then it hits them right there, showing off their Bluntman and Chronic comic, and they're doing a signature session, which was pretty sweet. And then when you get Banky right there, and automatically when he's trying to get an autograph, he's all next, and the guy's all, wait, you're the tracer. He's like, I'm the intern. Give it life. Which made me crack up, dude. Mike, what did you think on that part?
I just love that it opens up on a con, like I said, from that first transition to this one, it just feels, like connectivity, right? Like they actually did it. And, if you were to think about it, like the next, how would that story have flowed to? So for me, it just kind of made sense that it starts out in a con, and then it's all about them, riding Jay and Silent Bob and that whole, because there's like, how many different side jokes, like from Mallrats ended up being major plot points in Chasing Amy later on, like the Tracer and the, some of those were stuff that they started in the first movie. So it's like, you go from Clerks to Mallrats, and I've mentioned this, they feel like two different movies kind of thing. What's up, dude? But then it's like that. Okay, so like Mallrats was his first like Hollywood established, like it had the marketing, and so Chasing Amy was like the first one that Miramax like really pushed. You know what I'm saying? So it had the, it had more advertisement and stuff like that. So it was more of like, it was like the first one he was trying to appeal to like, just the comedy and stuff like that. This one, it was like, he was talking about it. It feels like an elevated romance, with the intelligence that's in it, some of the things that they were touching on, man. It's hard stuff. The breakup scene, man.
Yeah, that's good.
And just and in the opening scene too, just the soundtrack kicks off right away with Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. It's like, just, you can automatically, like, I don't know if anybody else is into like ska or punk rock or anything like that, but that's essential 90s music right there. We can already tell the time frame. It's it sets it right there. So
I agree 100% with you on the music. The music draws you in to this movie. Like you're into it and stuff. And that opening scene with the music and that is just, I forgot how great the opening scene actually is for Chasing Amy.
Yeah, totally.
Just that opening scene, like just the, with the credits and everything, how much more a big movie does this one feel compared, from Mallrats and Clerks, it actually has like an established like movie feel opening to it,
Well, I think he said this is one of the movies that they had a bigger budget for, I think.
I don't remember. I want to say like Dogma. I mean, Dogma you can tell because they were
Yeah,
shooting.
Dogma
Like,
you can definitely tell.
Well,
but
just
I
the
would.
celebrity factor too with Dogma is just they have.
But it might be too with Chasing Amy because Chasing Amy, you have a lot more different name, because that's where like, from Mallrats to Clerks, you only had like maybe a couple different people out of his main cast that show up, right?
Yeah.
But like in this one, it's like not only does a bunch of people from like Clerks and Mallrats show up, but like also brand new like actors that they added into the franchise, like
Yeah.
the actress that plays Amy, and she shows up in several different movies after that.
Well, she's
I'm
in
drawing.
Mallrats too, right? But
Yeah, and she
very
yeah,
minor
for like a
role.
split.
yeah,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
keeps dropping all
Well,
these like, little hints.
Joey Adams was in quite a few things. Like she was in Dazed and Confused before
Dazed
that,
and
and then
Confused,
she was
Oh,
also in
she's in a bunch of
Big
stuff.
Daddy
Bunch,
with Adam
yeah.
Sandler.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's how they pulled a bunch of people from Dazed and Confused. They pulled Ben Affleck. They pulled
Yeah.
Joey Adams. I mean, Parker Posey's in this movie too,
Hmm.
who was originally cast in Mallrats but couldn't make it. So she's, she actually plays Joey's best friend in Chasing Amy, and they're best friends in real life. So it's kind of, it's kind of interesting to see that. Kind of fun.
Well, let's get to like what we thought of the style and structure of this film, and what like. We'll start with Tylox.
And like, yeah, this one's got way more of a heavy feel to it. Like everything in this is like a lot more. There's a lot of comedy in it too, but it's real hard hitting and real life kind of. I mean, well, most of the stuff is real life stuff. It's stuff you would see in real life. But this one was definitely had a heavier note to it. It's a lot of heavy emotions. Like I remember when I was watching it over again, I was like, man, it'll get to you if you're in like a mood. If you're in like a, I would say like a real like existential dread kind of mood, don't watch this movie at the moment. Wait, like put in one of the first two, laugh your butt off. But this one's it deals with a whole lot of like darker feelings and emotions. You can see that with the way it's shot because a lot of scenes are darker. The bar scene at Meow Mix, which
the bowling alley outside the parking lot.
Yeah, a lot of the outside nighttime scenes and stuff like that. So it's a lot. It's got a lot heavier of a feel than the rest of them.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's much heavier. It's a more real life kind of movie, especially showing the different side of a relationship. Especially if it's a lesbian that turned into she was like, I guess you could say
She's
bi.
attempting, yeah, because she was just taking a break, because that's like, I was going to touch on that because it's not your traditional story. Like you could say so, but not really. And that's kind of like, I mean, I know the title reflects on that, but it's like, like the more I think about it, it's like the movie can be taken like so many different ways. Like you could call it a romantic movie, but it's not really a romance movie. But you could, I mean, it's like some of the things they do touch on. Most people will never come across that exact, like situation, especially the way like they try and fix the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like once they do figure out the problem. So I mean, like it is, but I like for me. I remember like seeing it because I was still a teenager at this time. What was it, like 98 or something like that? But I mean, if you give me the
97.
year,
Yeah.
okay. So I
1997.
was 17, right? So like at that time, I remember it was like relationships were kind of like established at that time. I mean, but like I had never really touched on anything like that, and to see the way that he reacted to the whole situation, it really kind of opened my eyes how certain people can just like even though you might know how people react and stuff like that, like like man, I mean they can go like totally left field on you, and that was one of the things that kind of blew my mind was like and it wasn't just his like fix to the problem, which is funny when you think about it. None of them should have had a fix in the say, it's her life kind of thing, but like I know it's just crazy, and I love that. I mean, because it's not your traditional like hey, this is the problem, this is how Hollywood fixes it. No, it was like that first time where it was like it not only were they touching base on like lesbianism and homosexuality, because it wasn't just that. I mean, they because she had the gay friends but
I was about to say Hooper was in the movie just about as much as anybody else was.
Yep.
He
Yeah.
just kept showing
And
up.
he's one of my
again.
favorite characters.
And his perspective
that.
on everything is a lot different, and he kind of
Mhm.
he kind of like steals the movie at times. Where he's just like in the record shop where he's talking, he's talking to Holden and stuff like that, right? Like it's just his little. He's not even like. He's just funny, and he's not like exaggeratingly funny. He's just a funny guy.
Well, to me, he has that kind of Chris Rockish, I mean not Chris Rockish, Dave Chappelle-ish kind of humor, where everybody's at any point in time, everybody can be a butt of the joke, or like something like his humor like stretches over vast, like none of that stuff matters, and he like throws these little anecdotes in there where you're just like, this dude's hilarious. Like every time he opens his mouth, it's like some sly, backhanded, but truthful little, perception of what's going on in people's lives and stuff like that. So,
well, I know in all the movies, there's that one guy, and we've touched that on Clerks and Mallrats. There's that one guy that we all want to be, and like he's the one that's like, I mean, he's stating like even though he has no ploy in the plot in this movie, he's still stating like in almost every scene when you hear him, like I mean even in the Comic-Con scene when he's talking about his real facts and stuff like that, he lays on real truths and stuff regardless if you want to hear it or not. And even sometimes, because there's that scene in I think it's like the restaurant or the bar or whatever it was, and like it's the same kind of thing. Like he kind of reminds me of that character. It's like that he's that character that you need to hear, you should be listening to, but for someone, everybody else is focused on this part of the story.
He's
and
like
I think,
the subtle Randall of Chasing Amy, right?
yeah,
Like
I was kind of.
he kind of puts that truth that you don't want to hear, but you know that you need to hear it.
Yeah, he's like the guy with the experience and the knowledge, and he gives you both sides. Like he tells you, well, can you accept it? Her past is her past when they were at the bar, when they were at the record store, and he's telling them, you know what, everybody has a past. Can you get past it? Like he's giving him knowledge about life and just giving him that point of view. And he's always saying, I'm the minority, I'm African American and I'm gay. So
he says I'm the minority of the minority.
Yeah,
but he also thinks that Mr. Weatherby is having sex with Archie. So how right is he?
I mean,
hey, you have to read between the lines, Travis. You have to read between the lines.
Read between the lines.
Until you show me proof, either way.
So I did have that little part right there.
What's a Nubian?
Yeah, like hopefully we find this out like during this movie. Like I agree, like this, you can take this movie however you want to, because at this time, like I think the only gay content that was out was like Dharma and Greg, or not Dharma and Greg, but Will and Grace. So nobody was doing this in Hollywood, making like subject of like there was not just one gay character in this, there's multiple gay characters. Like even with that guy that we were just talking about to her friends. And it kind of opened up people's eyes like that. Like she just was in love with the people that she wanted to be in love with. It didn't matter who they were in that. And that was something that was breaking the doors down. Like Kevin Smith was like the first kind of person to do that. I don't know if like I could be wrong, but I think that was like the first one. And going forth from that, like it shows us like this is what I took from the movie is like you see this love between these characters. Like you see Banksy and Holden, they have a special kind of love, even though they're both guys, and that it's showing us like two people can have that love, but not sexual love, platonic love.
Heterosexual life mates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's where it comes from in that. And this movie is definitely not a love story. It's just, it's hard to say. Like the whole title, it says it itself. Like you're chasing after Amy, you're chasing after something that's not obtainable. It's never going to be obtainable. You're just constantly chasing something.
But it could be a metaphor for not even relationships. It could be anything. It could be your
exactly.
your fitness goals, your work. It could be, and that's what makes this movie so amazing, is that the context of it doesn't have to be relatable to a relationship. You can take that and pin it on anything in life, really.
Think about the analogy with the comic art that they use to teach Brody at the end of the movie about what's going on. Like there wasn't really like a relationship diagram that they used. It was like Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and a lesbian. I mean, and that one scene like sums up the whole thing, because basically what it is, it's a conversation that everyone has had in real life, but just on different levels. Because when you, especially with relationships, and you get with someone, I mean, there is the concept that there is a past before you, but that for some reason we do know as humans that people overlook that past or forget it, or for some reason. So when it's brought up, and just like in other movies, it was brought up, the whole 99, from Clerks, I mean, but like that's that whole thing, that dilemma. And I think with Chasing Amy, like Kevin Smith kind of put it like, well, it's not just a straight guy and a girl, it's a straight guy, a girl, another guy, I mean, he made it like he put all the variables on it so it could fit for anybody that might be in that situation, that like as far as a relatable thing. Because you can't, I mean, you can always say, oh, this works for everybody, but does it really? I mean, because if I'm white or black, or if that person's gay and I'm straight, or so, I mean, this movie kind of touched bases on like every angle that you can like think of.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and her part where she says, for you, this is easy. You just, this is a thing, and this is just how it's going to be. Me, this changes my whole life. Like, this affects everything. It affects her friends. She's like later on that she had been ostracized. Like, all her friends quit talking to her because she was with a man. And they were
I think you can relate to every character as well. Like, I mean, we've all been in Banky's situation. There's always one of your friends, hooks up with a girl, and then you don't see him as often anymore. You guys don't go out for drinks anymore. It's like you get the perspective, and it's like it's all relatable in life. From all the characters.
Banky did have a valid point. He was also kept alluding to the fact that this is going to affect our business relationship too, because like the first thing he does when him and her end up hooking up for the first time, the first thing he does is blow off a business trip to Boston.
And we get the greatest moment in the entire movie is seeing Joey in that sweet Leafs jersey. So
yeah.
I had a feeling that's why you wore that tonight.
Yeah, I know that's why.
I don't have it. It's actually my favorite hockey player, Felix Potvin, number 29. If you didn't know, he played goal for the Leafs between 90 and 95, I want to say. So that's
well, since you're bringing up your favorite scenes, like JD, what was your favorite scene in the movie?
What was my favorite scene? Actually, it's when they were talking how inexperienced Ben Affleck was. That's the part where I was totally into. And I actually have it here where they're discussing the standard. I'm a Catholic person. I don't follow it as much as I used to, but I still believe in the beliefs. And the standard was that. But it did open my eyes to think, hey, there are different type of peoples, and you can't be blind. And then when she explained everything, where your definitions of stuff about having sex, or if you do, if you are gay, how can you have sex? Well, when she does this part, it killed me. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I love that. Like how it's all started with it's like we do have fingers in that. It's like, yeah. But I've put my finger up my ass. Doesn't mean I've had anal.
Yeah. That's a good
point. I mean, that whole part, it's just him kind of just being like, well, I mean, I can't call, like, what I call normal is like not normal for everybody else. It kind of helps you put that all in perspective.
Totally. So what's your favorite part, Travis? Because that part right there is what made the movie for me. but the whole thing was great. But that was the one part where I was like, oh my God, like it opened my eyes. What was your favorite part, Trav?
I would have to say, there's so many great parts in this movie, but like the one, I don't know why this is like my favorite part, but like the whole hockey game scene where it's just
you stole mine, Travis. We can both take our different parts.
Wait, what part of it though?
Well, where he's just kind of like being vague and like trying to get it out of her, and that like it was a very stressful situation. Like you could feel the emotion between the two characters, and like the look on her face, like she was perfectly like giving off the emotions in her face, like perfectly in this scene. And it was great. Like you really see it like festering up in that. And then at that point, like when I first watched this movie, I didn't expect her just to be screaming out at him at that point. That actually, it kind of scared me because like, it was like, wow, that just came out of nowhere.
I thought it was like a not a flashback, but like a daydream scene where I thought he was going to be seeing it that way in his head. And then it was going to like snap back to them having like just a normal conversation. And he was like way overthinking things. And then it like she storms off. And I was like, oh no, that's how it happened. Oh, okay. No, okay. Well, that's how we're doing this then.
And the genius of the scene, man, is if you actually watch it, the progression of the hockey game as the fight escalates.
Yes.
It culminates to right when she says, and he fucked me from behind. A guy gets smacked in the face, and that's like, it's the directing is just genius on this.
Yeah, because that's exactly like he
then
once literally got hit in the face like that. Like, and the greatest thing too, if you remember, you can hear the heartbeat.
Yes.
And like it's escalating and that like so you're feeling that anxiety with this character.
It builds that tense, you know.
Yeah.
And she storms off, and the whole like there's a bench clearing brawl. It's just like it's so brilliantly done. And like I'll pick another scene for my favorite, but I will go with this. I just love the cinematics of it. I think it was just really well played, and knowing that Kevin Smith's such a huge hockey fan as well, like he just had to throw that in there. So
we'll come back to you. Let's go to Mike. What was your favorite part?
Mine's the same damn scene, but technically I consider the parking lot a different scene when she blows up at him, because technically it is two different transitions of the scenes. So like mine is that parking lot scene.
But what parking lot scene? Because there was one where it was kind of like, I guess it's not a parking lot scene, but it's the car scene, and then there's like it's kind of like
after that. It's when she blows up.
Yeah,
when she screams at him and stuff, and when because it's that whole combination of everything, and when they're going out in the parking lot, and she's trying like not only trying to break it down to like real world sense, like what does it mean to you? What are you looking for? What are your answers? And like and going off of everything he says, for one, it's like it makes me feel pathetic to be a dude sometimes, some way, some of us, how we view things and stuff like that. But then like honestly, my favorite part of the scene is growing up. That was like one of the strongest moments I'd ever seen, like a woman in a movie. Like, there was a lot of like movies before that had like powerful women and stuff, but no, that was like the first time that I'd seen like where she was screaming at the top of her lungs at this dude, and like, no, like, F that, this is my life. I've, and she said some like super important stuff that like I really feel like people need to live by. But like like all those moments, like they might have been horrible and stuff, but like she didn't regret any of them and stuff. She learned, and to have somebody to come into her face and then publicly like put it out there and stuff, bro, like, and she was quiet through all that. Like me, no, like I wouldn't have been so quiet. But I mean, no, that's got to be definitely but I mean, there's so many good scenes. I could pick like a ton of the comedy scenes, especially with Jason Lee. I love Brody, but like,
I mean, just one of mine is one of the comedy scenes.
just the power and the motion in that scene, like after that whole, like, I mean, the hockey scene and everything that goes into it, and I even forgot about the heartbeat thing, like, but no, for real, like going through that and like that, I mean, he builds it up in such a way that's real world, that if you've ever been in a fight in a relationship, that's that, you know, that's that breaking point, that, you know, it's gone too far, there is no fixing this kind of thing.
But it shows you that what inexperience he has, it adds to
Mhm.
it, which makes it even more
Mhm.
powerful. And that's the
Yeah.
part I do love, because I was relating to him when I first saw this movie, because I was inexperienced with like women. And when I saw that point of view, it was like, oh, yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. But you
Mhm.
could see on his face when he pushed her away, and I was like, wow, you screwed up big time. Right there, I knew it was going to be over. What do you think, Tylox?
My favorite scene was the bar scene because okay, like even leading up to the bar scene, like they're dropping little hints, like what's the name of the bar? Meow Mix, and
Yes.
it's like
Yeah, meow
Meow Mix,
mix.
you know, and then like
This was
he
a
like does
lesbian
this
bar.
whole spiel about like we shared a moment, and his friend's like okay whatever, and then Banky even says it when they get to the bar. Banky like sits down. The first thing he does is sit down. He looks around the bar and he immediately goes, "There's a lot of chicks in here." And he says it in a way where he's like, "There's something afoot here. Something's wrong. Why
And
are
he's
all
all
these
looking
chicks in
around.
one spot? There's no dudes." Man, he's immediately putting things together, but he's like, drinking his beer, just like, "Oh, that's unusual." And then the part where like she starts making out with the girl, and he like looks at his and then he starts clapping, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, shared a fucking moment, didn't we?"
It's like,
Yeah. His
Yeah,
And
comment.
then you
I
hear the
shared
sound.
it. And I think we've all been in that spot where you tell your friend something like, "Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, this girl is totally feeling me," and then you get to the party and you find out that like maybe she liked you at the last party y'all were at, but this party she found somebody else that she likes, or maybe you didn't, and like your friend's just like, yeah, now I'm gonna give you crap because and it's really funny how like halfway through he doesn't want to be there. Maggie doesn't want to be there up until that happens, and then after that, him and her end up being like best friends,
Best
swapping
friends.
stories.
Yeah.
He's laughing, having a good time, and
Yeah,
Ben's like,
the roles kind of flip there because Holden's
Yeah.
having the best time of his life, dancing all weirdly, and then next thing you know, it's just a flip. Banksy's having the greatest time, and they're talking at the bar, talking about times that, and throwback to like different characters as well that have shown up, like Brandy Spenning.
yeah,
Like talking about hers is like, yeah, I was going down on Brandy Spenning, and then her dad walked in. I can't move my head.
yeah,
There's
like
only this
all these
bar.
like horror stories of things that have happened to each other while like giving oral. It's just it's hilarious. And then Holden's the one who's like, "All right, let's go." And like they want to leave, and Banky's like, "No, I want to stay and hang out now. I
Yeah.
feel like this. It's a good night to hang out. This is a good idea, And he's just rubbing it in his face the whole time.
I love how deep this movie gets. Like it can hit hard with the comedy, but it can actually get deep. And they go, like it is kind of a love story, like you guys said, but like it's in a way where like usually how love stories are set up is just like guy and girl meet, they run into an issue, and then the issue is resolved, and then they get together. In this movie, they don't, and the issue is something that you have not seen. It's like, yeah, this girl it was used to be called finger cuffs because like she took two guys on at once, and that like that's not love conflict in any love story you've ever heard of. So
Yeah,
it's just great.
Honestly, I don't see it as a romantic or a love story. I see it as like a movie that like just a real world movie, because like you said, I mean, it does have romance in it, and they do touch base on that, the love, but it's not at all. Like it's so unorthodox, because it even starts out and they state the base where she is lesbian, and they even try to do the whole straight thing, and it still doesn't work. Like, I mean, like, it's kind of like that thing, like if you could imagine fall in love with like and no disrespect to this profession or anything, but like a stripper, and having that kind of mentality going into that relationship, like You'd have to know that she would have had to have, like, maybe not a sexual past, but she's got some stories, you know. And I mean, you'd have to go in
Yeah,
that
comes along with
I
it.
don't even think you even have to go that far. Like, it's just relatable to everyone. I mean, I'm in a pretty long-term relationship, and I mean, like, my partner and I have talked to each other. You know, we both have different pasts, but and different experiences, and it's you know, that's what it is. It's in the past, right? Like, I mean, I don't think we would be together if I was 23 again, instead of 39.
I
Right?
think
Like,
it's weird
it's
how you can watch this movie when you're younger, and then when you watch it later on, like when you've had more life experiences and stuff like that. Like, I remember watching this
It's
when I was
different
younger
meaning.
and being like, "Oh my God, I've been through some of these same kind of, things and stuff like that." And then you watch it later on, and you're like, "You guys were making such big deals out of stuff that you could have just like let go." Like Holden, there's a lot of stuff that Holden could have just let it go, man. Just
Yeah, like petty stuff.
yeah, just stupid stuff that you're making mountains out of molehills and like,
And that's a funny thing. Like, when I think I watched this when I was 20, and like 100% would be like agreeing with like Holden or agreeing with Banksy and that. And then like as you're older in that, you see both sides of the story, and you're just like, yeah, that does make sense. Like, I'm actually agreeing with her this time around. Like, this is my life, this is what I'm doing, and that like it shouldn't affect you and stuff. Like, that was 10 years ago. Are you gonna judge me on what happened 10 years ago, or judge me on my past and that?
well, and she also
Especially since
states
I
that,
have a bad past and I don't want to bring it up, and that was the past. I'm a new person today.
yeah,
So
and she even states that too. She was like, there's a reason why, I'm in love with you, because I'm not that person anymore. Like, it just shows
if she
the
would have been
progression
that
of people's lives.
person, if she would have been that person, like if she would have met him 10 years before that, she wouldn't have been into him. It wouldn't have worked or whatever,
No.
But it gives you that part where like Kevin Smith is giving you breadcrumbs, because when you watch Clerks and when Dante is talking to his girl and he's telling him about they're fighting about the 37 dicks. They don't think
Yeah.
about the past. The present is you. You're the last one, and it resides again on this movie where it's telling you, don't think of my past, because you have a past, but I'm not asking you for your past. I want you for the now and the present. That's what this movie, I think, is all about. Love me for who I am, not for what I was. So
And
that's
then Kevin Smith during, I'll throw this out as being like, I guess, my second favorite part that's kind of relatable to the fight scene, in the diner where, first of all, it's hilarious with Jay Muse coming in and, talking, like the way he's talking to the waitress and trying to, like, subtly just like throw down Jay Muse, but the way he explains chasing Amy, right? Like, it's just brilliant dialogue from Kevin Smith, and it's his only line in the movie. It's his longest lines out of every movie, I believe. So, and it's just like the one that just like hits home right there, because like I said at the beginning of the show, it's like everyone's had that moment, whether it's been a person, a goal or anything like that you put up here, and something gets in the way, that you just can't get past, and you abandon that goal or that person or whatever, and you realize you're so filled with regret years later that you it was so minor that you had everything you wanted, and you just didn't take it because of something stupid and trivial. And I think that just, like, I don't know, he just hit it out of the park with that little piece of dialogue, and just coming after like the interactions between Holden and Jay Muse and stuff like that, with that little comedy back and forth, and just something so serious coming right after. It's just genius.
Well, yeah, I love how like
up,
they
Bleaker?
came to get their
Oh
money.
shit, Bleaker's here.
That's the wrong chat, Bleaker. That's on everybody else's channel in the world, not this one. We love Kevin Smith here.
Yes.
Friggin', I love the part where like he hands him the like envelope full of money, and he's like, "How did you fucks find out about likeness rights anyway?" And he was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we interact with a lot of lawyers. Like it's just like, you know, or they're just, you know, like, I could see them getting locked up for something and they're around a lawyer, and like, you know, they're just like, oh, such and such is making a comic book and his characters are based on us. And the lawyer's kind of just like, hey, well, you know, if they're using your likeness, they owe you money. And they're like, they owe us money? Like, so that whole scene, the way they set it up, where it's just like injecting those two like out of nowhere. And I think that's like the only part of the movie that they're in, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Except they are like, you can hear they're at the end of the movie, like a end credit scene type thing.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, like they're talking about Snoochie Booches. Like, who says that? But that was about it. But that was definitely the only scene that they were in. Like, this was like a movie where it wasn't. They weren't like the main characters in a way. Like, they weren't like in all of the other movies. They're side characters. Like but they're like characters that you see often. Except for in this movie, they play that one point in the movie, and that's it. Then the whole story is about these three people.
And that part's like the part where I was thinking, where he says when he tells you the story about his Amy, and how it relates to Holden, where he was scared and of the experience that they had. And to me, that made the movie at the end for me also, because everybody has that part or some time in their life where they let somebody go and they kind of regret it, and they always try to find that one love or that one moment, and they can never find it. That's why they chase Amy. You're always chasing it. Like, you can take it as different things. That's what I did take. I ended up taking it as.
Yeah, especially because when I saw it, it wasn't even like, you know, super major relationship time in my life. So, I mean, I did take it at that time differently, but like, I mean, you could take it regardless. Like, I mean, you could even put comics in there, or, you know, it's that one story that you can't remember, or that one book that you can remember the cover, but, you know, I don't know. There's other things out there, but I agree. Like, I mean, and I think it's the whole purpose. It's like every movie it's done in the same fashion. There's always that, what is it, that, you know, Kyle at the end of South Park, you know, well, hey, this is the real message. This is what you should have got, you know. And like the way they did it in that scene, it's kind of like, I mean, it's even like another thing, like, if he wouldn't have heard that line from Kevin Smith, do you think he would have got the whole message behind the whole chasing Amy? Like, because we do see him and we do see chasing Amy. Like, well, I mean, we see both of them in the next movie. And, well, no, it's two movies. It's after Dogma, because they've when is it? It's during Jay and Silent Bob that they pop up, or is it Clerks 2? But they both pop up.
They both pop up in Jay. Who is it? Holden and Banky. They both pop up in.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can tell that their life has stayed well on track. You know, they're not homeless, or, you know, the comic. Yeah, I mean, the comic evidently got well enough to be made into a movie kind of thing.
And then later on,
whoa, spoilers, Mike, spoilers.
Whatever.
Well, spoilers for Reboot, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. You see a future Holden and her, and they have a kid, which spoilers alert, that it's Jason Mewes' actual kid. But like, yeah, they loved each other enough, and she was still a lesbian to this day, but they stayed friends, and they love each other that much. Why not have a kid with their best friend? And yeah, and they also mentioned, like, nobody got the real message behind chasing Amy throughout. Like, they kind of hinted at that, but
no, I think there was a lot of people that watched that movie and probably made it to that part in the movie, and they probably didn't get that whole thing. And then once Kevin Smith laid it out for them, they were like, yeah, you know what, man, there are those situations like that, you know, and they probably clicked for them, you know, and that's what it took. I mean, there are those people out there that are like that, absent-minded, that sometimes don't see stuff like right in front of them, you know. But I believe that's like that. I mean, but you think about how smart that is. Like, the fact that he had that part in there, and the fact that he knows it's going to work, you know, and how very few people saw it before it was released, you know, and stuff like that. like, I mean, just the brilliance behind that, knowing that it would be that important in the film, kind of thing.
I just love how I do think like everybody was take a different message from this movie, because there was so much said, so much done in this movie, and believe it or not, like I know Bleeker won't agree with me on this one, but I think Kevin Smith in his earlier days, because he's kind of he's kind of just stopped really caring, because like I think people perceived him as like this goofy type of guy, and that's what he's become because of us. But like
but
he's
he's
really
not
been
dead.
deep. Yeah, he's not
But
dead.
he's not dead, and
But he was like, if you want to admit it or not, he was freaking deep in his movies. Like, especially this one. He hit so many different avenues that nobody was hitting. He was subtle about it, and to this day, people are still questioning what this movie actually is about. Is it a love movie or that? People are still like taking their own ideas from it, and what they thought of the movie and what it represented.
In my honest opinion, this is my opinion, but Kevin Smith is one of the most technical directors in my timeline. You know, I mean, I'm not going to say he's the best. I'm not going to say, but as far as like in my eyes, my opinion, he's one of the more technically driven, directors out there, and the way, like, now you can say, like, I can agree that like Clerks 2 and Jay and Silent Bob, the way those movies feels, they feel a lot like Harold and Kumar or something like that. It's really reversed because he kind of started it. It's really like they feel like these movies because he started it first. But like, I mean, technically, if you go back to each individual movie, I mean, he does something magical, like on a like just like not even on a script or not even on a story basis, but just like the way he shoots the movies and the editing process, and like you had brought up the hockey scene, how it connected with the stuff that's going on in the background. I mean, and he's not like, I wouldn't say he's like the top or anything like that, but for me, I mean, I'd have to say out of technically, like my top directors, I'd have to say like everything Kevin Smith's ever done. I mean, I can't name one bad film.
I think it's cool because it's approachable for everyone too.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're dissecting it on such a deep level because all of us have seen the movie. I've seen this movie. I can't even count how many times I've actually watched this.
I do.
But
I do.
I mean, for first time people, they might not get the whole premise behind it, but it's still a comedy. If people can appreciate it for that, people can appreciate it for for the real life situations, and people can appreciate for the directorial prowess of Kevin Smith, for the dialogue, for everything, and everyone can pull something different out of it, which is, I think that's where he just hits it just like way out of the park, is because, look at us here. We're all different people. I mean, we're all comic book heads, but, we all live different lives, but we're all affected by this movie, right? And it's just, it all has like a special place in our hearts, right? So I think it's cool the way he does that. And going down to what Mike said, is just, he's up there for me with some of the top directors. He might not be the, like a Quentin Tarantino that, puts together, crazy masterpieces of stuff like Pulp Fiction and stuff like that, which are classics, but he's up there with those guys, right?
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was the other. I mean, he's like, because I'm trying to think specifically, and I'd have to say his dialogue, right? Because all these movies are all the best. I mean, they're dialogue-driven movies, right? I mean, all movies are dialogue-driven, no, but this is like conversation-driven, where it's like multiple stuff's going on in the background, but there is a main constant conversation that the whole movie's about, right? So like
you can't put it on mute, like, and just not pay attention for a couple minutes. It just doesn't work.
Especially not Mallrats, man. No, but thinking about it, like, I mean, my top, like, it would have to be Quentin Tarantino, but Kevin Smith is like right there next to him. Like, you talk about like just the dialogue and the scripts and the actors that pull off the dialogue and the script, because they have to have these faces to pull it off, or these, and they don't tell us how many takes each. I mean, some of these lines they say, I don't know if I could say that, without cracking up laughing. I mean, so. No, but dialogue driven. I mean, Kevin Smith is a master at that. I mean, that's like, that's what I got.
No, you hit it, man. I think you're correct. We should jump into our favorite character. I would like to hear everybody's part. I'm dying to know everybody's favorite character and why. Travis, let's start it with you, brother. I want to hear who your favorite character is.
And the funny thing is, my favorite characters actually are fictional in this, and they were just created in this movie, and like they're kind of a driving point in the background, and that's
Is it the Easter Bunny?
Oh, the Easter. No, it's not the Easter Bunny. And it's not Willem either. Willem was at the start as well, and the ending. It's Blowman and Chronic. It would have to be Blowman and Chronic, because like that's like it's kind of the whole driving point of like the background story, because these two guys are creating these characters, Blowman and Chronic, in that, and it's what they do for business and stuff, and Blowman and Chronic have gone on to stand a time to actually create Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and they're just two awesome characters. And I gotta point out that it was said in this movie that, I love Blowman and Chronic. It's like Bill and Ted meet Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
yeah, with the scene with the actor,
right at the beginning, the Willem dude.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you meant the scene with Matt Damon and the guy who plays Dante there. I forget his name.
I just have to ask this. I never looked it up. Is this Matt Damon's first movie?
I'm not sure, but it has to be up there, because it's Ben Affleck's like second or third, because his first was Dazed and Confused, Ben Affleck. So I would assume they're pretty much in the same.
I don't remember when he did Good Will Hunting, because
I think it might be around the same time as Good Will Hunting. I think that's maybe what they.
And they're both Miramax. And...
Yeah.
So that might be why like he came in. Like Kevin Smith was a consultant on that.
Yes.
On that movie.
He always jokes about that, where he goes, "Why don't you make your own movie?" And they did.
Oh yeah.
All right, neighbor, what's your favorite? I do like that Blowman Chronic. That's amazing, Travis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. I mean, I want to say Hooper, just because he just pulls down some of the like, just like Banky says in the opening, like in the conference there at the con, it's like, you almost made me pee myself, like
what's a
Black Rage, like
it's
just
dude.
Like
when he walked up to him afterwards, like he leaned down and like after he shot him or whatever, and he like leaned down, and he's like, "What's a newbie?" And you almost made me laugh. Like,
but for real, I would have to say Alyssa Jones, just like the like her performance, Joey's performance in this movie was just like, it's just top notch. And I mean, like how many, like Mike was saying, like how many times, how many takes, like in that parking lot scene, like
I don't even know.
She was screaming at the top of her lungs, and it was just like, if I was on the other end, if I was in Holden's place, like that's just like that's terrifying. It's like you're getting told the truth with such emotion that it's just like, wow, like those are just like, she's spitting daggers there right into you, and just brilliant acting. And I'm going with Alyssa Jones, and she's all, like I said, she also rocks the Pot Band jersey, which is just greatest moment in film history.
That's a good one too. Yeah, I think she stole the part, but when I get to me, I'll tell you who mine is. Mike, who's your favorite?
Jason Lee, like by far, he's always like, I mean that's why that he's kind of the real reason I fell in love with Kevin Smith is because he stayed like, I mean, ever since Mallrats, he was kind of featured in every film, you know, different characters, but still, like, I mean, him being like one of the major bad guys in Dogma, and you know, like, um, no, I just love Jason Lee. But no, I mean, yeah, I know like a neighbor was saying like he kind of wanted to say the same thing. There's so many characters to say like which one is your favorite because I could pick the comic guy, man. That whole scene like with that's one of my favorite lines like in life is like what's a Nubian? I use that with some of my friends and like back and forth like all the time. Like every time I hear it come up and like I said, when me and my friend watched this movie and that come up, he was like, "Is that where that comes from?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's where that comes from." I say that much. But no, I mean, like even going back to Ben Affleck's character, and it's something that hasn't been brought up, but this is the first time in all his movies that he was featured not to be a complete asshole because everything
Yeah.
before this, like Dazed and Confused, he was the bully. Mallrats,
Yeah.
he was specifically the bully. No, this was
Well, he didn't want to. He
his
didn't want to
first.
play the bully in Mallrats, right? He was not. He was
Yeah,
almost not going to take the part because
and
of
that's
that.
why like Kevin Smith totally like and he still does have those bully moments, but you can really tell this was that movie that it was like he was, you know, breaking into his acting and he wanted to show off the different levels of his, you know, but you could, I mean, and like, and you can really see in the beginning parts of the movie like that he was trying to show because it was more of the comedy side because he has some of the funnier lines in that whole like where he's just sitting there after Jason Lee gets shot and he's just like still eating his popcorn and he's all like, yeah, like when he's all like when I forget what when he's like, yeah, he was like Lando and he was like, you know, you forgot about Lando and he got to drive the Millennium Falcon and he's like, who said that? And he was like, right here. He's like, who said that?
Yeah, it is funny too. It's like, oh, hey, we come to the farm boy, white guy with blonde hair, and blue eyes. Like,
yeah. I was like, oh my god, this is great.
He was like, he got himself a lightsaber, and they started clearing up, and now he's gonna take over the galaxy.
Yeah, it's like you come to Darth Vader, the blackest dude in the galaxy, and that.
And then you make
actually,
the helmet off.
If that doesn't touch on real world stuff, because I always thought, like honestly, I was right there with him when the Return of the Jedi came out, and it turned out to be like the white guy in the mask. I was like, what? Like, no, come on, man. Like, you know, James Earl Jones, you know, I mean, he's black in real life. Come on, what the hell? No, but I mean, just that the fact that he pointed all that out and had contradictions to the whole Lando being the one black guy and the whole, I love all that. But like, I mean, it's not just that one scene, right? Because there's a couple of other very funny scenes with Ben Affleck in that movie, and it's like honestly, it's like he got to touch on every different like ratio that you can think of that an actor would want to because they're those very strict like serious like and he was on the other side. Most people want to be on the predominant of the relationship, you know, that kind of side of the acting. And no, he was on the receiving it, you know, in that part. He had to look all hurt, had to look all cried, you know,
like straight faced with the proposition. Like how many takes do you think you could like where he's like, I have the solution, you know, like just
Jason
that
Lee's
one
face,
shot.
he's like, okay, let's do it.
Oh man. So Tylox, how about you? What's your favorite character?
Alyssa Jones is up there because she's just like all her scenes are like some of the like her and Ben are like the hard hitting like kind of scenes, the real emotional stuff, and she does really, really well in this movie. Like her emotional scenes are like some of the realest things that I've ever seen. And like I don't know if this stuff's ever personally happened to her or not, but I'm kind of starting to get that feeling after you watch this movie.
Maybe
just that whole, I mean, just him, just the whole thing about him. Just when they were at the record store and he signed the autograph for the little kid. He's like, never take your eyes off the man. And
yeah,
like walking up the stairs, but he's still staring at Ben as he's going up the stairs, like he won't stop looking at him. And like he's just like, why are you making me the villain? Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm just hanging out here. Like, you're making me the villain. So it's great. All his parts. Just he puts a whole lot of humor into it, but at the same time, he's got this realism to him where it's just like, this is the way it is because this is the way it is. Like, that's just how it is. Just that would probably be my two favorite characters. Banky's up there, of course, again, but that's because every movie that Banky's in, he's pretty much at the top of everybody's list of characters.
That's a nice one too. But of course, the list is up there for me. But I would pick Hooper. I think he's the one that stole the movie for me. He gave you all the good insight parts, especially the beginning where they're at the con and he's just throwing that. Mike hit it perfect when he's talking about Darth Vader, and they make them white. What they want all black people to be white, because I want to be white.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! I was rolling. Even watching it yesterday, I just wanted to refresh, and that killed me.
But isn't that true? You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true, but it's funny, and of course, all the knowledge he gives you, and especially where he's telling you how at the record store, and he's just telling them, "Oh, he's been with two girls." Oh my god! And she has more experience. Oh, like all the sounds he makes made me laugh and just love him even more. But like the Archie part, read between the lines, that was super good.
I love how their solution to this was, we're going to go across the street and spend money to buy Archie comics. Like,
there's $1, go buy yourself a clue.
You got a comic book store.
Yeah, he's just like, no, it's like we're getting up
Yeah.
right now and we're gonna march across the street and go check that. I'm gonna prove to you that Archie is not gay.
Yeah, like he says that.
He was ready.
I'm
He
just
was like, let's
how are
go.
you gonna use Archie comics to prove?
Yeah.
Like, where is that at? What are you reading into him? Like,
but if it's good that he was a bartender, because he gets all that.
I think that was like something. I would love to know if Kevin wrote it that way, to where it was like Hooper was wanting to like make him go off, and then it went a whole lot further than I think even Hooper thought, to where it's like, now I'm at a comic book store digging through comics because I was messing with this dude, and then now he's just like dead set gonna prove to me Archie wasn't gay. So
What are you talking about? Mr. Weatherby does not want to have sex with Archie.
Yeah.
You can say it, try to say it. It's okay. Yeah, so he's my character that I loved. Throughout the whole thing, he killed it for me, and I love it that we get to see him in a future movie. So that was cool. That spoilers, but I'm not gonna tell you what movie. You have to wait for us to talk about it. But he did it. I think he stole the show for me, even though Alyssa was the main one. I did find him as the beginning part that cracked me up, and then he got the knowledge in there, and that gave me a different perspective about life. And I was like, you know what, we do have to see life that way. So that's my character.
I want to know everybody in the chat's favorite character, except for Bleeker. Bleeker, we know you don't have a favorite character. Travis, you're so sheltered.
Yeah, if anybody in the chat, if you watched the movie or are going to watch the movie, leave us a comment too to see what your favorite character is.
If you haven't watched the movie yet, sorry, we just spoiled the whole movie for you.
Yeah, we should have said that at the beginning. This is a full spoiler movie or review, like talking about it. We're gonna spoil the shit out of this.
We'll just clip this part and insert it later.
There we go.
What rating would you give this movie?
You read my mind, Travis. What do you think? Let's start with Mike this time.
Out of 10 or 5?
Yeah, what's the rating system?
Best out of 5.
Best out of 5.
And what are we comparing it to? Like best movie of all time, or just in Kevin Smith's repertoire?
Just in your opinion, like how many Chasing Glens do you give it?
Oh,
I give it 17 Chasing Glens.
No, between 5.
Out of 5. 17 out of 5.
17 out of 5. No, I mean, out of Kevin Smith's movies, it's tied with Mallrats, and these two are my top 2 favorite out of everything he's ever done, and that's including stuff that's not in the the universe movies. But I mean, like, I think anybody can watch this movie. And I mean, even what's so badass about this one specifically is all the other one have major, major, major ties to the rest of the films, like with Jay and Silent Bob. This one's kind of like where everything took like a weird side turn for a second, and then the rest of the movie kind of like kept going. But it's not a bad side turn. It's just not really Jay and Silent Bob, like, I mean, and it's funny because when you think about it, the story is that it's still like the progression of Jay and Silent Bob and the comic and everything, but it's just not about them or anybody related to any of the previous movies. But I love this movie. I don't think you have to know anything about any of them. I mean, that's the beauty of all these movies is you can watch them all single, and you don't have to watch them
Well, you can get the Easter eggs though, like the
Mhm.
like the fucking the dead guy, right? Like you wouldn't if you didn't watch Clerks, right?
39.
You don't get it, but it's still funny, right? Because like my friend fucked the dead guy. So like it's just like it's different. It's layers of funny, which is cool for like somebody who's casual and somebody who's like really
Yeah, like
into it.
even Rick Darris was mentioned
Mhm.
in this movie as well. So, and Brandy Spenning.
They talk about the hockey game on top of the store in this one.
Yeah, they mention the quick stop and
Yeah, he
all that
said he
stuff,
says at one point he's like, quick stop, and she was like, oh, my best friend fucked a dead guy there. Like, and I was like, oh my god, like.
Well, even when Banking's talking about when he met his friend, he's like, oh, I haven't seen him in a while, and he was talking about finger cuffs. The quick stop's in the background.
Yeah, quick stops in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, so it attaches everything, especially Clerks.
Yeah, because they're hanging out in like in the adjacent town, right? Like it's
right
it's all
door.
in like this 3-town kind of 3 or 4 town area, and so
I think it's just a 3.
And that guy, that finger cuffs guy, I'm pretty sure that's Kevin's cousin.
Oh, that's a fun fact right there. Nice.
I would give it a 3.5, 4, 3.5, 4, somewhere in there.
Out of 10?
No, at 5.
3.5.
Out of 5.
I would say 3.5, 4. It is a heavier. Like it's really weird how he mixes this like really heavy message with
the
like,
comedy.
all this comedy. So, yeah, I'd give it like 3.5, maybe 4.
I'll give it a 4. I love it because it attaches Clerks to it, and the comedy and the real life part, which is amazing. It's one of my top favorites.
What's up,
Chef? What's up, brother? So I'm gonna give it a 4. I just loved the part. It had me laughing and it had me thinking. So there's no way I would give it less than a 4 in my opinion. But how about you, Trev?
I'll give it a 4.5.
Oh, nice.
It's not getting a whole 5, but it's getting a 4.5. I overly enjoyed it. Like I watched it twice today because like I enjoyed it that much. It's just great. The comedy aspect of it, it's like it comes out of nowhere with it's perfectly flowed. Like the dialogue is perfect. Again, they're touching on situations that nobody ever touches on. They're able to add in that comedy aspect and that drama aspect with no hesitation, no issues at all, and it just flows perfectly well. And it doesn't feel forced. So it's just perfect to me. And whatever message, like whoever watches this will walk out of this movie with a message that either they'll come up with on their own, or Kevin pretty much serves to them on a silver plate. And you can connect with so many different characters, and like especially when we touched on like how we look at this movie differently, we look at these characters differently as the years go on. So like you can connect with like more than one of these characters in this movie, and it feels real. It feels like real. It doesn't feel like you're watching a movie. It kind of, which does sound kind of creepy. It's just like we're watching these people like live out their lives. But yeah, I have 4 or 5. 4 or 5.
Nice. And last but not least, neighbor, what's up, brother? What you got?
Oh man. Well, I mean, like I said, this is my favorite Kevin Smith movie. It's actually, I would say it's in my top 3 all-time movies.
Oh wow.
And I mean,
Oh.
like my top movies aren't really. I don't have a lot of comic book movies, and I don't include Star Wars or those are on a different level. But I mean, it's up there with like. My favorite movie of all time is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Jim Carrey. Another deep dialogue movie, and Chasing Amy's probably it's up there with that. I'm giving it 5 potentially awkward threesomes out of 5.
And 5 movies.
Just for the fact of like I don't know if I'm the only one who, I think I brought it up with Mallrats and when we were talking about that, is the progression from Clerks to Mallrats to this is like you see, 2 guys working menial jobs, and then you see 2 guys who are comic book fans, and now you see like 2 guys who are writing books. And it just seems like it's a progression. They're different characters, and 2 are played by, I mean, like Banky and Holden are in Mallrats, but different characters, right? But
yeah, they absolutely hate each other in that movie.
Yes, and now they're best friends. It's like I don't know if that's intentional. This sort of progression that we see, and then into the later movies, then you see like the culmination of everything with like the movie and everything like that. It's like it just seems like this is like a dream that's constantly going for these potential characters. But for me, it hits the 5 for the relatability, because I've been in this situation. My last serious relationship before the one I'm in currently, my partner at the time, she was way more experienced than I was, even though I've had a ton of different life experiences with working in bars and everything like that, and I've seen a lot of stuff, and I got into different things when I was younger, and but just I couldn't look past some of the things, some of those experiences that she had that were far beyond what I could grasp, and that was the end of the relationship. And I took advice not from this movie, but like in my current relationship, I haven't delved too deep. Like we talk and we're open about it, and we're under the realization that we're in our late 30s, and we're different from when we were in high school. Okay. So this again, this movie just hits home for me on a personal level. So, and it's also just comedic gold. So yeah, 5 out of 5.
Nice. But it did that part for real life. I did take it with me as an experience, is never to open that door, like to being open, yes, but like really wanting to know everything behind that door is not I don't want to know the past. I know the present, and I want to know the future. So for me, I end up taking that from the movie. That's why I think Kevin Smith's brilliant with this movie. It opened me up to like learn new things, which I didn't have before. So this is a great movie.
Can you guys hear the Bad Country karaoke going on in my house?
No.
Good. It's horrible. I can hear it through the headphones.
Good, because I'm over here having to listen to it, and this is not pleasant.
But
we did touch on like some of the music, like especially the beginning, but I do want to touch on like Alyssa Jones singing in the bar. That was amazing. Like I'm not gonna lie, like that flowed perfectly well. I love that scene as well.
Yeah.
Like I said it before. Like I do think that Holden is dancing like kind of stupidly.
I think that was a song she wrote. If I'm not
oh
mistaken.
man,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
hit that perfectly. Like I love. Like I can like.
I don't remember.
Not gonna lie, I did replay it. Like I did say I watched it twice today, but I did replay that scene too.
Yeah.
I didn't look at that though.
No, yeah, the flow of the music hit perfect. I think everything was right on. Her singing was amazing. I enjoyed it. The beginning,
Hooper even told him in the bar. He
Yeah.
was like, "I think there's something about her you don't know, or something like, or something I need to tell you." And he's like, "Oh, I'll talk to you later." Like,
Yeah,
well,
that was like the scene is just like, does she have a boyfriend? Not exactly. Then there's nothing to know.
yeah.
messed up my Cabbage Patch. How about Neighbor to the North? Any fun facts for this one?
I didn't write down any, man. I was just too excited. Like the other ones, I just wanted to talk about it.
It gave him an excuse to watch this movie for like the third time this week now.
I actually watched it twice. It always doesn't get old. Like, I love this movie where it doesn't get old. Well, I'll watch it again, and it's good from beginning to end. But the sad part, it didn't make a lot of money. It only made about I even wrote it down, about 15,000. Compared to like the other ones, it
only made 15 grand. That's it.
Yeah, less than that. I think it was like 13 something.
Yeah, in the U.S., worldwide, it barely made 15. So it was like what Bleecker said. It was a disaster. But to me, I love this movie. If you really watch it, and it's amazing.
But question is, like,
it's a lot of casual Kevin Smith fans' least favorite movie, and I feel like it's a lot of passionate Kevin Smith fans. It's up in the top.
Yeah.
So I think it's because we don't get that straightforward comedy that we got in Mallrats, right? Where the dialogue was more subtle, and now the dialogue's in the forefront, and the comedy is secondary, right?
Well, it's a hard sell. Like, think about the synopsis of the movie, and trying to explain what this movie is to like a random person that doesn't know anything about it.
And the time frame too. 1997, I mean, we're in 2022, and there's people think differently than in the 90s, and some of the subject matter in here are it's stuff that people like we were talking about earlier. It's stuff that people weren't talking about, and we're bringing to the forefront. It was there was a lot of
it's still to this day, if not worse, it's still stuff that that's why, like, seeing this movie this week, it's so nice to see those scenes because they're still refreshing, like, because it's still not in the open like that, like 25 years later. And back then it was like they were trying to be, out, like Hollywood-ish with it, and some of those topics, and it's sad to say, we're still not like widely open with those topics, like the race issue, like he was talking about in the beginning. Like, I'd say we're like a couple steps behind that now, if anything, like because back then that was that time we were actually trying to like get rid of it. No, now it's like we've gone backwards. So I mean, seeing that movie was actually like, honestly, it was like it was just refreshing to see that. It was nice. And I mean, it's especially how openly, like how openly they were poking at it, kind of thing, because nowadays everybody wants to tiptoe around shit, or it's like, I mean, look at all the names they're changing and stuff they're taking away.
I think it's funny because, like, in the record store, I don't think they could have had that conversation now.
No, they couldn't.
Had that conversation out loud, somebody else would have probably ended up flipping out.
This whole movie couldn't have been made now.
Yeah, like
you would get so much flack for it.
People were figuring stuff out. It was the guys talking about stuff and just being open with it, and like the way that Hooper feels about things is not necessarily the way somebody else who's also gay might feel about certain things. So there's also stuff like that where it's just like there's it's all personal preference at this point. So
it's like easy stuff, like the guy's comic in the very beginning of the book. I mean, we can't even say that would like like send us down. I mean, just that, and just his description.
We'll get pulled from YouTube if we.
No, exactly. Like, because I mean, and that's how, like, you understand that used to play on regular TV, and that was not one of the parts that was edited. Like, you know what I'm saying? They edited out the curse words and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like nowadays, like I mean, if we had that movie on like, it's not on a streaming service, you want to know why? It's because of that, because it's like they would have to like take out like huge sections of the movie because we live in this new PC age where like I mean,
You are wrong though about it's not on a streaming service. It's on Prime Video.
well, I'm
Is it
not
on
saying.
Prime?
Well,
I
I'm
tried to
talking.
find it on
Yeah,
Prime
but
Video.
you gotta order it.
Yeah, you
Like,
got to pay
Oh,
for it.
oh.
I meant like free. Like
that's the way I watched it. I watched
Yeah,
it
here
on
you have to
Prime,
order
but I had to I rented it for $3.99.
I had to.
And,
Yeah, I
and
had
you
to
can't
pay.
get it in you can't get it in Canada on Prime, Travis. Unless you have a VPN.
I was going to say he's in Canada.
And to answer your
Travis is
question,
like,
Dan,
well, I'm never talking ever again.
to answer his question, we will later on. We're trying to hit every movie in order, so we haven't talked about those
What is
characters.
the next one?
So,
Dogma.
Dogma is next.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Well, that's probably.
But
my
we
favorite.
did. But Travis did touch on that because he
Yes.
did bring up that we do see like that they already have mentioned that we will see them in the reboot and we will get to see like a different version of them, like a different
Yes.
reality. No, but I mean, it's not the first time they've shown up, and it's not even like one other movie that they show up because they show up and like I brought, I mean, it's not just them. We also see other characters from, and it's nice to see that it's not even that one character from that specific movie because you have several characters that play different characters. So some of the like that's like Ben Affleck. He's played multiple different characters and Jason Lee and stuff like that, like Matt Damon.
Matt Damon,
Yeah.
Buddy who plays Dante. He's in it for what 20 seconds as the as the film exec. With his hair is amazing.
I love the fact that all of the characters that he play I forget the name. Like, of course, he plays Dante Hicks in Clerks, and then he plays a different Hicks, which is related to Dante Hicks, and in this movie, it's another Hicks.
Yeah, and then the other ones is,
and so like it's all of a relationship. They connected that character in so many ways
and they're all the same. They're all the same guy, really.
Yeah.
Like his mannerisms are all the same. It's like, and just different hair.
The only other characters they don't do that with, like, of course, Ben Affleck shows up in like Mallrats, and then he's in Chasing Amy, and then he's in Dogma. Like he plays different type of characters, especially like. In future movies, he plays two different characters in one movie. We'll get to that. So, but like it's great that, and that's what Kevin Smith wanted to do. He wanted to do this with friends. That's what he did this. Like that's why he wanted to get into this, and that's what he's doing. He's still doing it to this day.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So Dogma is probably going to be our next one, right? Can't wait for that one.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. We got it. Any final thoughts on everybody?
I do want to say, like, I did mention some fun facts earlier with Ben Affleck's brother showing up in the movie earlier on, and then he's actually become a really good actor. Then
now, if you had to say something, I want to say because he's also in Good Will Hunting. But I do know that Casey filmed this before he did film the Good Will Hunting scenes that he's in. So technically, you could say this was the first movie Casey, was in. Like, but I think Phil like said it earlier. I think they were filmed like the same time or something like that.
Yeah. And then you have there's a show mentioned, and the reason why it was mentioned is because Kevin took it right from his life. Kevin is a huge Degrassi Junior High fan.
I was waiting for someone to bring up the Degrassi there.
I like Next Generation, but that's just the era I grew up on.
But he appeared in like
he appeared in the Next Generation.
Both.
He played in New Class. New Class I never watched because that was later on. Like that came out like 3 or 4 years ago, but like the Next Generation, I remember he was in that, like Degrassi Next Generation, and I love that scene where he's just like, it's like you really have a thing for like Canadian melodramas. He's like, nah, I just like when the girls say a boot.
Yeah.
So
So I think we covered it perfect. I think we hit everybody's favorite parts, and I can't wait for Dogma. I think we should end it with that and just see what everybody has coming this week, or then in the coming weeks. What do you guys think, Travis? What do you got? Anything special coming up?
I'll go last.
Mike, what do we got, brother?
Spine Ticks on Saturday. I know TM and then hopefully this guy next to me will be there this Saturday. So yeah, Spine Ticks Saturdays, but reviews, unboxings, like that kind of stuff. I have a big unboxing coming. I'm just waiting for its loss, so I don't know. But it'll be my first CBC like grading, see what I get, kind of thing. But I got 2 slabs that I shipped away, and I got it back real quick. But now it's just got lost in the mail, and we're just waiting. I don't know. Yeah, so that's it on my channel.
Nice. Tylox, do you have anything coming up, brother?
Spine Ticks tomorrow. My pull list has been reinstalled, reinstated, redone. So I should have new books coming in the next time I get paid. So that in 2 weeks I'll have a haul video. I think that's about it. I know that I wasn't on this week, so I think next week will be the Spine Ticks card show thing, and I'll be on it as well.
Oh, nice. I'm digging the card show all the time because I'm watching it on the replay.
As soon as we get off here, I'm actually about to ride to the store and see if they've got any cards that I can
grab some.
It's becoming a thing. See, this is why I don't like making new friends, because then they put me down old roads, and then now my house is just full of shit. So, literally the desk I'm sitting at now is now covered in baseball cards. There's just stacks of baseball cards everywhere. It's like I'm 9 again. So, yeah. But that's it. That's all I've got coming up.
Sweet. I like the Phil one with you, Travis. That was pretty cool watching that. And I was like, tempted with hockey because I love hockey. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to buy this stuff. But I did see the Kings players coming up, and I was like, ooh, getting tempted. So I'm just gonna watch from afar, but getting tempted.
Man, who's your team, JD?
I'm a Kings fan. I'm from California.
You're a Kings fan. Oh yeah. It's not a good time to be a Kings fan, but
hey, we're playing good right now, baby. We're doing really good. We're up to the number 2 seed now, so I got the experience with the youth, and I think it's clicking. Other than my last game, we got blown out, but other than that, we're playing pretty good.
It's the goaltending that I'm kind of suspect about. And the Leafs aren't doing any better on the goaltending right now. I mean, they started off pretty good at the start of the gate, but now, do you think Quick can?
No, I think they need to put him on a one off. He can't do this.
They play the 1A, 1B, the tandem.
Yeah,
that's what I think. I mean, Toronto's trying to do the same with the 1A, 1B right now, and it's not working. Depends on the situation, right?
Yeah, because Quick picks it up on the second game. He's he takes a day off. He's refreshed. He's playing the way Quick plays back when 2012 and 14 when we won the Cup. But when he tries to do the 2 days, you could see it on the second day. He's not the same. So he'll miss pucks. You can see it, and usually his average is 2, like low ones. But when he plays the double or 3 days, he's not that great. So hopefully that changes. So do you have anything coming up, brother?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't do many things on YouTube. I did drop I went live today at a very early hour. I mean, early for you guys on the West Coast. I wanted to just drop some pickups, but actually got into a pretty heated argument with my shop owner, and I went on a little bit of a rant. So I dropped a little 30-minute live video. TM was in the chat checking it out. I think I'm kind of every second week, opposite of when we're doing the Kevin Smith stuff, every second Saturday. I'll most likely be on Chillmonger's channel doing 33 burning questions. I'm kind of secured a regular spot on their panel, so that's pretty fun. It's nice to talk. It's different because there's a lot of non-comic book community people, which is so it's a different audience, and it's cool. So you're seeing some people, you know, I've seen Tylox jump in once, and there's like Roscoe and Mike and stuff have jumped in a couple times in the chats and whatnot. So it's just cool, kind of, you know, seeing some people come over and check it out. But it's different talking with only movie related people, right? They don't, you know, Chill reads comics, but the other guys really don't. So they're all strictly MCU only. So it's kind of it's an interesting take, and I enjoy it. So
Cool.
other than that, just lots of work, man. Lots of work.
Nice. I'll definitely be checking it out more. So now that we get connected, and I have another brother to follow, so I'm super happy to be doing that. And we'll just go with me. This week, nothing's gonna happen. I'm gonna go do a little con on Sunday, so I'm not going to stream this Sunday. So I'm gonna have Comic and Collectible Treasures come back next week, and I'm gonna have a brother who is here in the chat, Zen, multi-news. So that's gonna be fun. I love watching his channel for his video games. So we're gonna have Travis next, see what he's gonna be dropping. But thanks for stopping by, guys, and sub up all these guys, man. They drop so many good stuff. Don't miss out on their stuff here. But that's about me. That's it. Just be chilling with Zen. Travis, what do we got, brother? What do you got upcoming?
I just want to say thank you, everybody who's caught the live and who's in here in the live. You guys are all worth it. And everybody who's watching this on the replay, make sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and you know what to do, guys. I have a lot coming up in the next little bit. I will be going live tomorrow because I just got my exclusive in, so I'll be showing that off and talking to you guys a little bit about that. Then I recorded with Comic Aussie for Inside the YouTube Studio, which will be dropping tomorrow as well. I think that's at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then I'll be over on Spine Ticks. And then Sunday, I have a YouTube Cribs video dropping. This week it's Tony Fett. So he has a really cool setup in that. I really enjoyed watching his video. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that as well. Monday, I have going live again to unbox something I got from DJ Lynx. Tuesday, I'll be going live again for unboxing a Kickstarter. Show you guys what I got and what I got for a bunch of stretch goals. And then Wednesday, for chatting with the comic community, I have Tylox on.
Nice. That's it. I can't wait to see your exclusive.
I approve this message.
So I have a lot, not just on my channel, but on other channels as well. Like every single freaking day.
Tylox's reaction, he's like, "Hey!"
Yeah. Hey, that's another thing that you can see that's got me involved. I approve this message. See, I have things going on. I have so many things going on. They're not even on my channel.
Right. Hey.
So in 2 weeks, we're going to have Dogma. Are we going to be on your show, Travis? Your channel?
Yeah, I'm going to be on my channel for one of my favorite movies. And this is just, we talk about how Jay and Silent Bob didn't show up that much in this movie, but they're like a prominent part in the next movie.
Yeah.
The parts where it cracked me up big time. And Dan, yes, I'm going to be there at the Orange County one on Sunday. So check out some comics and see what I can find. Hopefully, I can find
this is all leading up to the climax, right? On my channel with Jersey Girl, right, guys?
Yeah,
that's not the last one.
That's definitely it's not the last one, but it's the last in the rotation.
Clerks 2 right now until we get the next installment.
Yeah,
they go to Zach and Marie, make a porno, and
no, that one don't count.
No, after the Jay and Silent Bob movies.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Can't wait. Oh yeah, for sure, Dan. If you're there, hit me up and I'll look for you too, brother. So I think we wrapped it up. We covered it perfect. I think we did a great job. Check this movie out if you haven't. It's one of my favorites up there. I love watching this. I watch it multiple times. Until then, we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks. You guys have a great day, man, and great night, and have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Snoochie boochies.